The February meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners is called to order. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept minutes of last month's meeting.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Still doing the bills and accounts. It jumps to that's Cooper Lake improvements.
Not much. I mean, they're shut down. Got a little stuff to do in the spring. Still waiting on a price to finish that screen chamber off, potentially to replace that and put new stairs in there and some new grading. We do have a call on Friday, so hopefully I have some more information on that. The only other thing with Cooper is we do need to buy a slope mower for when the grass starts growing up there. You need to keep the vegetation off it. So I have bids out for a 0-turn mower. After the bids were put out, I did come across, we were down in Newburgh last week, looking at what they have down there, and they have an RC mower where you control it remotely, so there's not actually a person sitting on it. Maybe that's something were to go wrong on the slopes. So I'm thinking that might be a better direction to go. It is on the more expensive side versus the 0-turn. But if we have to do Binney Water Dam over, I don't know what the slopes are going to look like there. They might be steeper than what we have at Cooper. So if we're going to spend money on one that we can use for there, and then it turns out we can't use the ride on for Binney Water, then we just spend 20, 30 grand on this ride on that might work for the other dam if it has to be done when it has to be done. So at this point, there's really nothing other than an FYI, but we're looking into our options. So hopefully next meeting have them on that.
So did you put a bid request out?
Just for the ride on, I guess we'll see what they come back. It's March, but the RC mowers, that's remote control. We're trying to set up a demo. They're gonna come.
Well, what are the bids due back on this?
Early March, 7/6, before the next meeting. The event that's the route we've done.
Has there been, because I've never heard them before. That sounds like a good idea though, with those remote control ones.
Safety wise,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it seems like it would be huge, and it has like tracks on it, almost like a tank, so it can get into wetter areas as well.
Don't call it tank. Right.
Water tank.
It's that's impressive machinery.
Tractor vehicle.
So it's basically
Okay,
that's what it is.
okay.
So we have them come and they'll give us a demo of that. A lot more information.
Okay.
That's it for Cooper.
I always think of the one Central Hudson guy that was killed
Right.
by the hydro dam, like fell on him.
Right. So these are probably closer
You
to
mean
50,
with the-
60,000.
He was riding
I
it.
know, I
Regular
know.
mower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And like one of those, what's it, the vacuum cleaner, rumbles or whatever.
Oh,
It's automatic, it's just
Rum.
rumble.
Yeah, yeah.
Roomba.
Rumble, yeah.
And when our guys, you train up one or two of the
I mean, it
guys.
sounds like Newburgh has one, it's an older model, and they say they do all their reservoirs in a day.
Wow.
It seems like, I mean, they took it out of the trailer and they showed it to me, and it seemed fairly intuitive, so. But they're gonna come, we're gonna try to get it demo. Take up the Binney Water and mow some of the swampy areas up there.
Runs on gas.
Yeah, it's got a little Kawasaki motor in it. And it can do much steeper slopes than what the ride on can do. So.
Okay.
We're gonna take a look at it, see what it is.
Hyde Park 87.
I think everybody had seen my email shortly after the last meeting, maybe. I mean, time frames are all off, but they did give us a payment of $20,000 and change. So the only other thing is we had talked about the remaining. So the board wants to have that as a write-off. I guess I'm just looking for a motion to write off the remaining $3,782.71. If that's the direction.
Anybody have any thoughts? Anybody not?
And at this point in time, I don't.
Didn't we talk about not crediting on back fees, so we don't have this policy of not charging them fees and interest. It was just a one-time. We're just writing, we didn't like have say that we were crediting that anything, right?
I'm not quite
I think we've said it was more of like a settlement,
Okay.
that we kind of,
So we want to be,
Settle.
we do want to be careful about saying we would,
this was more of a settlement and, you know, the settlement will require us to write off some of this. But we've decided that that's not down or whatever.
And it was even more than the initial. Dollar figure, so it was almost 21,000. So just to write it off when the time comes in November, when we do everything for that time of year, is need a motion to write it off.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Accept the payment from,
To write off the
Right.
33,782.
The outstanding.
okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? Okay, those in favor? Opposed? They carry.
Hopefully we won't revisit this next.
Well, it's now all context is responsible for the thing. We've already made one payment.
Golden Hill Development.
The only thing I have here is, I believe it was at the December meeting. We had a motion to approve, the agreement for them to do the upgrades to the pump station. It went back through their attorneys and they added one paragraph where it states that it'll only be done if the development work is actually done. Which, I mean, it seems like they're moving forward. We've had meetings on it recently. Bill reviewed this, so I guess I'm just looking for a new motion to accept it again with the change, updated language on, so how to accept this.
Now, is the tank, that tank is not part of this?
It is not. It's simply for the pump station to install generator, add to SCADA, redo the roof, the interior walls, paint, strip.
So if that tank comes, if we do our inspections this year, and that tank comes back as like needing replacement, which after seeing it, I was like, how is it still in use? That we're on the hook for that tank, even though it just serves the county?
Bill and I have to talk about that a little bit more, how the whole thing's gonna go, but I mean, it only serves that one water district, so. Yeah. And I do have an RFP out for tank inspections as well, so hopefully I'll have that back by March, assuming I get responses, so. To the 3 tanks we have in our system,
They can't pump directly to their tank, right?
not with the current setup.
How much would it take? That all the hydraulics and stuff, Jim?
The pump station is too high. So that was part of, remember, it's a while ago now, we had them give us money to hire CDM to run the model for Golden Hill.
Mhm.
And it was, if the pump station was at the same level of the base of our tank, they could have pumped directly into their system and we could have just have abandoned the pump station or left it in place.
Abandon the tank, our tank.
Both tank and the pump station. So if their pump station had been built, you know,
Oh,
20 feet lower, they could have used that to put us to enough pressure on the suction side with the elevation of the pump station that the county owns.
But I guess it's not feasible to pump from our pump station all the way to their tank.
The county was not interested in
Yeah.
those
yeah,
upgrades.
no.
That was included in that report as well. That option was also included.
And how much extra was that?
I don't remember, but that was a very, very basic. It was more of what needs to be done, not so much dollars.
What they sent us, it's like bare bones.
I mean, I
So
guess
the
I'm
bill
just
doesn't
trying to
fall
figure out
down.
if that's an option down the road, eliminate our tank and their pump station and just pump to their tank.
To rehab that tank is $1 million. Painted.
For one customer.
One, technically it's gonna be 3, but yes. Mostly the county and 2 private developers, or 1 developer and the nursing. So, yeah, I mean, it could be designed that way, but it's not currently set up.
Well, I guess that's something we're gonna look at if we get to the point where the tank needs to be replaced. Would it be cheaper just to pump, make modifications to the pump, our pump station and pump to their tank? Eliminate our tank and their pump station.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that model, CDM model again.
I mean, if our other tanks need work and that tank needs, this is my feeling, I speak to the board, but like, I would think we should put money into a tank that serves more of the city than one customer. But that's just my.
Well, this request here is just
This
the
is on
simple modification to, our motion was that we approved 2 months ago, so I mean, get involved in all these side conversations which really don't pertain to the issue at hand, so. And you're comfortable with their vision.
Was satisfactory. For plans.
No, but the modification that they had to the contract is fine, so. Let's deal with that issue at this point in time, and we'll deal with the other issues. But basically says that obviously if they don't build the project,
They
then
don't
they're
have
not gonna upgrade our pump stations.
Is that looking like it's going forward as far as?
There was a meeting
They've got their,
2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we had a meeting.
they've got their funding in place. So it's still gonna be a long construction project.
They were talking about getting there in the spring.
Yeah,
Do infrastructure and stuff.
I think that they want to be open by the end of 2025.
We really get into it, got more.
Probably
started,
early
yeah.
2026, that's their goal, so if they want to get started.
But based on everything I've seen, this is going to go through. It's just they want their lawyer on the end. So
I guess we'll have to do with timing. So. They start building these, this development. And I guess I'm concerned maybe that. The development's halfway done and they still haven't started on our modifications.
Once this goes back, that's one of my first conversations is I think this should be towards the front of the work.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're using the same contractor they have now, or if it's, I mentioned it during the meeting and they had heard about it, but they didn't know. I don't know if they're clicks out somebody else or using the same contract.
Should that be part of the contract then?
That should be language that work should be done. Starting to do other infrastructure.
They
work.
can't get any water without our permission anyway. They can't go tap the main without asking for it. So we could. They can't use the water without risking the rest of the development up there, so, which is what this is needed to do.
Well, we can't prevent them from doing connections because they're connecting into their own distribution system. It's a separate water system.
Now they're connecting into the county owned that we run. And
Yeah,
that
I know.
agreement talks about all that stuff in the agreement that they have to come to the. Kingston
Okay, I'm just trying to understand what limitations we have on them to prevent them from.
Yeah, it's not their water, it's the counties. So
True, I guess we could just all of a sudden,
in the county.
Shut 'em off, too.
The county says that they have to
But
follow
to-
the same rules and regulations.
To establish a new rate schedule for that water district, what do we have to do?
Bill and I had talked about that a year or so ago.
That's within our scope of.
I had thought it was, but I don't know if it's.
I don't have a clear answer for that one though.
because technically it's not an outside of the city user. They're technically within the city limits.
It's a good argument that they are a separate, it's not a city user, not within the geographical limit, it's a separate district, right?
Separate district within the confines of the city.
Are they a city consumer or are they, I don't know. That's a tough call.
I guess you can go back in and read what the charter
No,
says, what the language is.
It's just complicated because it was done so long ago that, we treated other entities differently. So for instance, the Kingston Business Park has to pump water up the hill. And the city pays for that. The Kingston Local Development Corporation pays for that pumping.
They pay the water.
They pay the water department and,
They reimburse, well,
right,
I
right.
don't know if they reimburse or they pay the bill directly, but any work, we maintain it, but all the bills for maintaining the pumps go to KLDC.
Which is different than
And those
what this-
pumps run.
But
24/7.
the rate of water, what they pay per gallon or per unit is the same as any other.
But that's more like a service off of the Kingston Water Department's district more than a separate and distinct district.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I guess it would be no different, well,
That's just like that's like Stavo. They just have a service line. They just happen to have a pump to have to get it up there.
If this wasn't the county and it was just, so some private user up there, would it be same? Be dealing with the same issues, or because it's the county, it makes it even more
I mean,
complicated?
I think if it was a new development to be built up there, we would probably have them do the same business park where they would be responsible for pumping from our main service line to get up to the site. We would probably put that on them to do, but that's just not how this plan was figured out 50 years ago, right? It was done differently.
so with the Kingston business park you were just talking about with the pumping. Is there a separate meter for that pump?
There's meters in the buildings.
Okay, and those meters, and who is billed for those meters?
The owners.
Okay, they don't go through us. They don't get billed to the.
No, they're just like a regular customer.
Yeah,
It's just that
okay.
they're so high
Right.
up that
Yeah.
they have a pump station.
Yeah, and just billed directly to that entity, just like.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second on this. Yes, any other discussion? Yeah, those in favor?
Do we, did anyone move it?
No one did any. We need a motion.
Oh, we need a motion. Okay, motion,
Make a motion of that.
the revisions to the contract. Is it a contract or
Agreement.
agreement? Okay. With, who's the agreement with?
Roads LLC.
Okay. For repairs to the pump station. Okay. I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Truck bid.
Yeah, so we had in the budget 65 based on his building them, and I guess prices came down a little bit, or we got lucky. So I have a bid for 48,219. And they went all the way up to almost $59,000. That's for a 250 extended cab. They'll replace one of the trucks downstairs that once it arrives, plan to be auctioned it off, but it still has value. These vehicles go for quite a bit. We're eliminating the 4-door pickup that we have down there. That's a little oversized for what we need.
So the net price will actually be lower then.
Yes, yeah. I mean, based on the history of the auction site, it could be almost $10,000 based on some of the people buy these trucks for. That one's fairly, it looks fairly decent. We've sold stuff on that that's fallen apart for thousands of
How many
dollars.
miles are on the one that's going out of service?
Like pushing 100. Maybe not quite that much, but
And that's Ford also.
that is a Ford, yes. Yeah. But it's a 4-door crew cab, 250. So that's a pretty big truck. It's got full bed on it.
Okay, so in the motion for this,
I'll make a motion.
accept the bid. 48 seconds. Those in favor? Opposed? Drinking water source protection program.
Yes, this was something I applied to. It's free technical assistance from the state to develop this. My thinking is at some point down the line, they could very well be asking if we have this in grant application and stuff like that. But they're willing to pay for it, and all it's gonna do is cost some time. Why I have not yet accepted it, just because I wanted to bring it to the board. They're looking to set an in-person meeting before the end of March.
So is this a program that's a DEC program?
DEC, yes.
Are there any like negatives, like they could come back and find all this stuff that they're gonna want us to do?
Not that I can see. I mean, they're looking for helping develop who's involved, who's the stakeholders of the system, and what can you do? I mean, our system is pretty well protected right now.
Well, don't
We
we
own a lot
have,
of land up there.
we have regs, don't we? Watershed regs? How different is this from? This kind of sounds like something that's works off of our watershed regulations, right?
It very well could.
Because we have a number of watershed regulations, just like New York City has vast numbers of watershed regulations for their watershed and their reservoir systems. We have similar ones. I mean, I guess I don't see a downs.
That was kind of it's. The only downside is I feel like since they've developed this and it's up to, I think they're up to almost 80 communities that have joined it. I feel like it could very well be like, oh, grant application, do you have a drinking water source protection plan file with DEC?
Yeah,
It could be
and who
probably
all,
4 of those.
who provides the assistance, both DEC and the health
There's an
department?
individual from DEC that's reached,
Be nice if they could come map all the lead in our system for us.
yeah, right. The DEC's reached out. I don't know how involved the DOH is in it. I mean, their contact is included here, so I'm sure there'll be some involvement with them.
Yeah, I mean, because it's drinking water, which is the health department's purview. And land use and stuff like that is DEC, so.
Well, agriculture's on here too. York Department of Agriculture.
Agriculture. Yeah,
I mean, nothing's been done other than the application and the acceptance. But
And a lot of that,
it has
yeah.
not been accepted by the department.
okay, so
But-
you need a motion or
No, I
just?
don't
just
think I need a motion.
say-
I was just bringing it to everybody's attention and making sure.
Sounds like a good,
Okay.
a
That
good
was all
use
I
of
was-
our time, especially if they're gonna be providing. Walking us or doing a lot of the. Framework on it.
So that's
Like water out now. Oh, no, here it is.
How about, we done with the presentation of bills and accounts? And let's jump back up there. Everything looks okay, and motion to accept. Okay, those in favor? Opposed? Correspondence? Superintendent's report. Any future questions? Good amount of rain in January, huh?
Good start to the year.
Yeah, we're still full.
Any questions otherwise?
Did, we ever get a bill for the break that you had? Um, was it downtown somewhere?
First Avenue, you mean, for Delaware?
Yes, we did. It was 3,800.
Oh, it's not-
That wasn't that. But it was also a holiday, so.
There's a bill from,
Arrow.
oh. Guess the motion to accept the superintendent's report.
Make it.
Second,
I'll second.
those in favor? Opposed? Executive session, you have anything for executive
I
session?
have something before we go.
Okay,
So I had mentioned at the end of the last meeting, a desire to look at back trucks for micro
Okay.
excavation in the city. And I have a proposal for a truck here. So we had gone to Newburgh last week to look at what they have, and they have a large back truck. It's a monster. And then we went to town of Poughkeepsie on Monday to look at what they just bought a brand new truck last Thursday. We went to look at that on a job site. It was out digging. And the one that they have is the one that I would propose we were to go with if we're going to buy one. I have pictures of one here, and I have one at town of Poughkeepsie, that's what they have.
this is which one?
It's the same truck, so that's the
Oh, okay.
actual truck that's in North Carolina.
You gotta store this inside, right?
Yes,
You have-
so part of it, if we were to go with this, we would need to put a building up, a shelter, a structure of some kind.
It's gotta be heated.
It's gotta be, Newburgh keeps theirs around 45 degrees. And that's warm enough. But it does need to be, it's got to freeze, yeah.
I mean, does the city have space that we could possibly use it all?
I don't think so, not
Okay.
that I'm aware of, so it could fit a back truck inside.
The big, I mean, this one is on the smaller side, but it's still, 35 feet long. 14 feet tall, so. We looked at two different ones, so there's a small truck. And then there's the kind of a mid-sized truck.
And you said every time there's a break, every time there's an emergency break, this is something you would use.
Absolutely, yeah, so I looked last year, so. I don't know exactly how many times it was, but we spent almost $15,000 last year on multiple occasions renting back trucks because either the cities was down or unable to assist. And I also had meetings with Ed Norman where we sat in with the TrueBack / Vector, same company, and there's two branches of the same company. And it's different from the jet truck that the city is looking at. They do have different functions, and if you were just digging, it's just the kind of direction you would want to go. And then the other factor is lead service lines. If it gets to the point where we need to start inventorying and actually looking at them, it might come to potholing every curb box in the city that we suspect is lead, to get eyes on both sides. That's what Newburgh's doing with their big truck. They're potholing 25 to 30 services a day. And that's how they're doing some of their inventory. So that would allow us to do that if it gets to that point. But the price is a big ask in terms of dollars. It's $420,000 for the truck. And I would suggest that we use ARPA money that we have to spend. There is a clock on that money, so we have to get that out the door. And this truck is in North Carolina, and we can have it in 30 days.
Oh, really?
Yes, so that's the other piece. If we were
Yeah,
to hold off and not get this truck that's in those pictures, to get a brand new 2024 chassis, it starts at about $455,000.
So that's a lead time.
This is a brand new
10
truck.
to 12 months. This is a brand new truck.
Truck.
It's just a 2023 model on the chassis, but it's still brand new. But it's the older model, so once the 2024 models come around, the prices change.
So is there any higher money where we need
This would change how we do.
capital equipment than this, or you said this is on top?
Equipment like this would, yeah, this would be,
And this is what we were talking about last week.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
So what's the downside besides the cost?
I can't think of a downside of the cost.
Yeah,
And that's my famous
Yeah.
question. So how are we paying for this?
ARPA,
ARPA?
Is there enough
Yeah.
ARPA money to,
we have $575,000.
okay, and what was that money set for previous to this? Did we have
It's,
any plans for it or?
well, I still plan to do tank inspections when the RFP comes in March for the next meeting.
Do you have any ballpark of where that?
I don't, it's been so long since we've done it, I don't know where that's gonna come in.
Well, it shouldn't be hard to do
There's
the
several proposals,
inspection on the one up on Golden Hill. That thing.
but I'm hoping to get several proposals to do those 3 tanks, have that, I think that's coming due March 7th, but whatever requested for those. So we'll have
What
those
request for proposals to do is,
to do tank inspections.
do you have any idea what we're talking about, Jim? From the last time they,
No, but we haven't been, Meritor was the contractor we used to use a lot. We haven't had a tank inspection done in,
I don't know, I can't
I
find
would say
any,
15
I
years.
can't find
is
any.
it that long?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we have the one up on
Florence Street,
Florence
it
Street?
was partial.
They never inspected the inside, right? After it was painted?
Well,
We painted the outside.
we didn't paint the inside of Florence Street?
I think they may have.
I think
feel
we
like I heard
did.
Stories about the pumps being up there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we-
I wasn't here for that, but I believe.
I'm pretty sure we painted the inside of that when we did that. Because there was a concern about the curing.
How does
Because I
it-
know when I was at the health department, we had a couple of tanks that were painted in other parts of the state that they had to go back in and remove everything and repaint it because
That problem actually occurred because the manufacturer bought a different company and he used, the company he bought, he used, it was an epoxy, so he used the company that he bought, he used their A and his company B, and he mixed it together and it didn't cure properly.
Yeah, there
So
was a
he had
big
to
problem.
go
There's a
back
couple of
and-
tanks in the
Yeah,
state where they
had
had
to go
spent.
back and sandblast all the tanks again.
That's why because of that issue, I'm pretty sure we did paint the interior and the exterior of that tank.
I thought it was interior based on what I've seen, but that was years before I started, so I'm not.
Like last year, we haven't touched in technical.
Well, I'm trying to think,
And also,
Starting
Pearl Street.
Pearl Street tank.
I'm starting to show my age here. Huh?
Yeah, so that would be my plan for the rest.
It could be 15 years.
It's way up there. We haven't done one.
Okay, well.
But even the one on the high end, I mean, let's say it's 100, that'd still be enough money. I mean, so this truck, we could even have enough for that, I'm hoping, the slope mower, we'll put a bit out for that. That's the route we go.
Right, 'cause
Either way.
Okay, I didn't
whether
realize we
whether
had-
it's that one or the ride-on, there should be enough there for that,
So how much money you have in ARPA funds?
575. And a portion of that is related to lead service inventory and lead service lines, and this would help that in the event that we have to get heavily involved in doing that.
And then we'll need to call out.
We wouldn't have to
company
rent
for their
anybody
truck.
for this, so that's just it last year alone was $15,000.
You said we also take the wear and tear of some of the backhoe.
And the dump truck, because this truck holds more than.
In overtime?
It will cut down our breaks. We had one on Sycamore before the last meeting. This would have greatly reduced that. We would have been out of there by 3 o'clock if we had had this. Because the gas main was 2 feet from the main on one side and there was a lead service we thought on the other side. It ended up not being lead, but you still have to be careful when you're taking out services.
So when we talked about this last meeting, you just didn't have the price yet, right? Is that it?
I didn't, and I was also, so I was looking at, there's a smaller one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, brand new, you have in 10 to 12 months, it's around the 360 mark.
Mhm.
Now, the price can change before delivery. And then brand new for the larger truck is starting at 455, 460.
And the one that,
Or this one is,
They have one in stock.
this one is available to be in our 30 days.
Okay.
They do have to install the boiler for the heating on the water, but he says he can have it here for a month.
And how much was that again?
420.
It's 422, but there is potential $3,000 because the city's looking to buy a combo truck as well, so knock it down to 419.
Well, and it would give us time to figure out where to store it by next winter too.
Do you think, sorry to get you off, do you think it would fit, how tall?
It's
14, you said?
it's like 13.4, I think, was the sticker on the one in Poughkeepsie, so 14 on the
By
safe side.
chance, did Ed mention the bus garage at all that we have?
I thought there was buses in
There
there.
is, but I'm pretty sure that our agreement with the county ends this year.
I have not talked to Ed about any
This-
storage solutions
This
yet.
summer, and so I don't know if the buses will be back in there.
My first hurdle was board approval, quite not to the building and the
I mean,
storage,
That's
but
the
yeah.
only place I can think of.
Then you're gonna come back for $500,000 for building the building.
No, the building, I mean, we're talking like a prefab building, not
Yeah.
a concrete slab, so I think it's less than 50. Is my thought, depending on how big it is. They're not terribly expensive.
Where would you build this up at the plant?
So we did go up there and look at where we could put it. There's a spot by the backwash tower. And if not there, we can put it on the field next to the driveway. But I have not talked to Ed about.
I also wondered if there was another, like, we're gonna be buying another Vector, all back for the wastewater treatment plant. I think that our plan is to put it in that building that we have down on the Strand. The old Nolan's building
Okay.
that we bought a couple years ago. I mean, I think that that's, I don't remember if that's a 2-bay garage or a 1-bay garage,
I mean, it would be nice to have it down here somewhere.
Yeah.
But in worst case scenario, we have the plant and it's quicker to get to the plant and drive down ourselves than call somebody that's out of Jersey and wait for them to show up.
Mhm.
but again, we can, I think it's good for us to help.
Well, it'd be good to have some redundancy too, if we have like some major,
But it would change how we do things for the next 15 years.
I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Other than the cost, I can't think of a single downside.
So you're looking for a motion to,
I'm looking for a motion to approve the purchase of a TrueBack Flex for no more than 422,386. 422,400.
Make the motion, purchase the truck for no more than 422,000.
400,
What?
400.
422,400.
Okay,
400 extra dollars.
400.
I think it'll be less.
I have a motion.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Merry Christmas early.
Happy Valentine's Day.
That's St. Patrick's Day parade, but.
This will,
Yeah,
after
well,
this truck meets, we won't have any major breaks.
Just about made you make it.
That would be nice to.
Be slow.
Spending money. Anything else?
I do have,
Something?
Union issue for executive.
So we go into executive session now?
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to go in executive session.
I'll see you.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, executive session.
Motion.
Second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There's another executive session.
No. Yeah,
Why?
no.
Okay. Anything further now?
Nope.
Otherwise, a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Favor? Opposed? Thank you all.